to a brand new episode of Black, White, and Red All Over. I'm Victor Dandridge, the hardest working man in comics.
Ryan Seymore, King of Comic Town.
And you're actually there, so I'm jealous.
In the shop for once, but we're rearranging, and it's not looking good, but we're getting there. We're getting there.
No, man, it's going to be a whole magical experience. When are you actually opening doors that people can come in?
On the 12th, so like okay. Tuesday we soft opened, but Friday the 15th is the first release, new Magic release, and then Wednesday the 20th, finally, new books are coming back out.
Hallelujah!
Can't wait.
Hallelujah!
Cannot wait.
Looking forward to it. By any chance, do you have any would have been free comic book day books in stock, and they're just sitting in the back somewhere?
Yes, there are 3 or 4 that came in. That
nice.
We just have.
Did they get moved back? Like, is it postponed? When is free comic book day?
Dude, I don't know, because it was talked about as May being free comic book month.
Oh,
but
wow.
A lot of retailers, including myself, gave a little bit of pushback in that it really needs that data to really be focused on and be like, this is that special moment, because it isn't like you go to just one shop, you go to a whole bunch of shops.
Right.
So the people behind Free Comic Book Day are looking at trying to pick out another single day in the near future. Once we get past the pandemic situation we find ourselves in, it's where it's a safe time because it's hundreds of people. And there's no way to social distance safely with that. So true. Hopefully this year, what my dream would be is that for Halloween Comic Fest, instead of it being just Halloween Comic Fest, it becomes a combo of that and Free Comic Book Day.
Nice.
But that's my 2 cents.
Okay. Well, hopefully that does work out. So on this episode, since you're at the store, but we are not, we're going to do things still differently. We're not quite reading new releases. Instead, we have a special guest. Oh my God. If you guys have checked it out, then you're already in the know. If you haven't, you need to get in the know. Justice League Dark Apokolips War dropped from WB. It's available digitally right now. I think it's coming out in 2 weeks on DVD. Mm-hmm. And we have with us the co-writer, Miss Mairghread Scott. She's phenomenal. Her entire catalog of things that she's written, I mean, she touches all the geekdom. Okay, literally Star Wars, G.I. Joe, Transformers, Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers. What do you want? What do you like? She's written it. So
Magic coming up soon,
right? Yeah, coming up. Yeah. So she's going to join us in just a few minutes, and we're going to chat it up and talk about Justice League Dark Apokolips War. It's going to be good. First and foremost, thank you for joining us. We thoroughly appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah. How's this camera?
Pleasure.
How do I center myself? There we go.
There you go. I was going to say, you're almost there.
Oh, almost there.
Yeah. So we do very loose, questions. Obviously, we're going to geek out quite a bit, which I'm sure you're used to, all the things that you've worked on. And I think that's going to be my first question is, considering the range and sheer diversity of the stuff that you've touched, what is your favorite property so far?
Oh, man, that's not fair.
I know, it's not. I was just going to get that out of the way. Get that early.
You can't beat writing a Wonder Woman movie.
Oh my God. Okay. Since you started there, let us start there. Bloodlines. Wow. That's number one.
Thank you.
Yes. Have you guys seen Bloodlines yet?
I have not.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
Yeah, real good.
Yes. And I was so I'm that guy. I didn't love the Wonder Woman movie, the live action. I didn't love it.
Okay.
Because I so thoroughly loved the 2009 Wonder Woman animated movie.
With Alfred Molina and Laura Montgomery? I've got a maquette from that movie.
Are you okay? So I'm jealous all over again.
It was I worked at Warner Brothers Animation as a script coordinator, and my first day, Sam came in and was like, "Oh, what's your favorite superhero?" I was like, "Wonder Woman." And he's like, "Oh yeah, you want a maquette?" And I was like, "Yeah."
First day, that's just okay.
Yeah, he was just like, "Here, have a statue." I was like, "I'm never leaving."
Yeah, remind me to go work for Warner Brothers. Wow. Okay, but you have worked for the other side. Is that a fun rivalry? Are you the secret spy that bounces back and forth?
Oh yeah. Well, it was my contract for Guardians was basically You can write whatever, not DC.
Not them. Not at all.
Yeah, they were
Okay.
like anyone else, but not that. Well, I mean, technically it was not superheroes, but it was basically like not DC.
Not DC. You can work for anyone else but the distinguished competition.
Yeah, which was fair because at the time when I got the job, I was writing on a DC cartoon, so I could have just walked over.
Right.
But it was also a little weird because everyone in the animation world's so small that we all knew each other.
Of course. You know, comics are that way too. I'm sure with the books that you've written, you cross those paths, and yeah. So I guess in a weird sort of way, I should introduce myself because we definitely just started asking questions.
Yeah.
I'm Victor Dandridge. It's a pleasure to have you on our show. Ryan, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, Ryan, owner of Comic Town here in Columbus, Ohio. Pleasure to meet you.
Hi, Ryan.
we've
And
got
I'm
Jeremy.
I'm kind of the man behind the curtain normally, but with video, I get to come out in front of the curtain. So
Yay! We love you so much.
Nice.
So, okay, you, like us, you're a Midwesterner. You come from the state up north to us. And yeah, I always got to
Don't be mean.
Never.
I'm gonna be on my best behavior.
Never. No. You're allowed to poke at us because that's what we do. That is an Ohio, Michigan thing, and it's one of those things it's total love. I'm literally wearing a Superman shirt in the state of Ohio, so I expect you to poke at me. I 100% expect that. But to go from Dearborn to LA, talk to me. Was that a crazy process? Was that a crazy decision?
Well, I mean, I went to college in New York, and you know the weirdest thing? LA's more like Detroit than New York is.
Okay, that is a statement that I would never expect to see anywhere.
Yeah, no, I mean, everything's spread out, everything's car-centric, and the weather's, like, a lot more experienceable. Like, when you live in Manhattan, it's just, you can go days without seeing direct sunlight. So, yeah, weirdly, it was kind of a shell shock going from Manhattan to LA, but I was like, oh, no, it's just like moving to, like, if Michigan had decent weather.
That's fair. There you go.
Yeah.
That's pretty dope. Now,
like if everything were 40% less humid.
That's a good sales point.
Yeah.
I might go to LA for that one. That's not bad. What was the shop that you went to growing up?
Oh, we have Green Brain Comics in Dearborn, Michigan.
Yes. I've been to Green Brain. It's a great place. Awesome.
Yep. And my mom still goes there because we got my mom hooked on comics. So
good job.
Oh, nice.
What's your mom reading these days?
She is reading. What is she reading right now? I think I had her backpedal to read Velvet because I was mad that she'd missed it.
Okay.
And then if they're still making Walking Dead, she's still reading Walking Dead because she yelled at us when we stopped reading, and she was like, she called us quitters.
Oh, mamas know.
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
actually,
they're
the
allowed to
best
do
thing, and if you guys are comic fans, so I can tell you this, the funniest thing ever happened, was the store owners recommended Sex Criminals to my mom. And then so my mom calls me up because she loves the book, but I hadn't read it, but my husband had. So then my mom insisted I put him on the line, and then she starts talking to him for like 20 minutes about Sex Criminals. And my husband actually wrote in, and one of our letters is in the back.
Are you serious?
Oh, awesome.
That's amazing. That is amazing.
The best thing too is my mom got it wrong.
Oh, are you serious?
She thought that when the girl orgasms that she becomes invisible.
Right? No,
like
not it
she
at
didn't
all.
realize it starts. Yeah, so my husband tried to figure out how to like break it to her because only like the first issue or two had come out.
No, that's not quite.
I don't want to. Yeah, but she. My mom was like
amazing.
so excited. She's like, "We got to talk all about it." And my husband's like, "No, or we don't, or we
I
don't at all."
don't think Right. What's a crazy book that your mom has read?
Oh, I'm always shocked that she reads any of my stuff. It's hilarious to like. Well, I wrote a bunch of Transformers comics, and my mom likes them, but she still just refers to them as box people in a box world. So she's always like, Mairghread, you know, the redheaded box guy, he's got problems.
I love her. Like that is the best momness I've ever heard, ever. It's amazing. Right, what's one that your mom has read?
I got her to read The Crow.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Because otherwise she's very
Because you're in Ohio, so you're all a little morbid.
Just a little bit.
very true. Very true.
Good job. Good job.
Yeah, I'll tell you that's probably the weirdest for my mom because she doesn't read comics. Like she knows of them. She like when I was growing up, like I always had them with me. But yeah, she never really. It's weird. Yeah, she never really read any.
Okay.
Mm.
I'm trying to weigh whether or not I want to get my mom in on Saga. Though,
Yeah. Oh, go for it. Anyone who's
Okay.
had a baby will love the first couple issues of Saga.
But here's the thing. My mom is a potty mouth like I am. So she would like really talk about it in detail and it would be weird. It would be very weird. So
Yeah, she's going to talk about your big ass head.
yes, she is. No, you don't understand. No, we already have this conversation. 36 hours, big head. It's a whole thing. It's a thing. It's a thing. Mother's Day just passed. Happy Mother's Day to you, by the way.
Thank you.
Absolutely. But yeah, that's kind of I don't want to give her ammunition. Not at all. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Gets
That's
colorful.
fair.
It gets colorful. All right. So having watched Justice League Dark Apokolips War, you have to make sure that you put the dark in there.
Yeah.
First of all, are you okay? Because some of the stuff that's in that film, I mean, you're from Detroit and it shows. Like that's one of those things. Like this movie is why RoboCop makes sense. That it was fantastic though. It was absolutely fantastic.
There were so many moments where I was just like standing there, I'm watching it, and then my jaw drops, and I'm like, "What the?" And then just a few minutes later, another very organic. What the? Yeah, it was so good.
Oh man! First of all, thank you guys for noticing. Yeah, it was a weird thing. It's funny actually because I was interviewing for a job on a preschool show, and they're like, "Oh, I heard you just had a movie come out. Do you want us to send it as a sample?" And I was like, "No, please don't.
No.
Like, please don't." But yeah, I went in and I had just finished writing Wonder Woman Bloodlines, and Jim Krieg and James Tucker, they brought me into the office and they're like, we're going to end the continuity. Do you want to pitch for what the ending should be? I was like, okay. And they're like, it's going to be a Justice League Dark, so you got to get dark. Do you think you can do that? And I I was like, yeah, I really
Successful.
think I can.
Hold up my sleeves. Let me see. Yeah, you
because
definitely
you
did
never get to when you're a pro, you don't get to break the toys. Like the toys got to go back in the box, and I'm like, this is the one time. This is the one time I have to. And I wanted it to be. I didn't want the violence to be the point. Like that's just pornographic.
Right.
But I wanted it to feel like this movie really had stakes and that these people might not make it, and they already failed once. And it's like, you've already seen them. And I felt like, we've already seen them overcome so much that if we're going to get people to believe in the stakes of this film, we got to show them fail hard. And also it's like, if the main character is going to be John Constantine, which I knew it was because they were like, it's a Justice League Dark movie. So I'm like, all right, let's do Constantine. It's like, well, why the hell would you go to Constantine? It's like, the only reason you go to John Constantine to save the world is if no one else is left.
Exactly. All bets are off. Anything else didn't work.
Yeah, you can't have Captain. You can't have, sorry, not Captain Marvel. You can't have Shazam.
Right.
Like, you can't have Aquaman. You can't have nobody. You can't have Stargirl. Like, you can't have anyone if you're going to show up and hunt down John Constantine and try and convince him to save the world. So I was like, we got to take everyone off the table.
That's true. Like, it could be like Booster Gold and Blue Beetle and Constantine. You're like, let's go Booster and Beetle first. Let's just try that just to make sure. So how long was the production process? Like, when did you guys start on this particular movie?
Oh, I started writing this movie. Oh, crud. I could go yell to my husband because he was like, I found your outline so I can tell you when you started writing this movie. I think I started writing this movie like 2 years ago.
Okay.
Maybe even a little more than that. It takes a really long time. And it's kind of weird because like I wrote the script and I was out and I wasn't really involved until it was done.
Wow.
So it's an interesting thing to like watch it again and be like, was that my line? I think that was my line. Yeah, that's like my line. Like,
I'm gonna claim it. I'm gonna claim it. That's all. Well, the reason why I'm asking is because obviously the thing that a lot of people are comparing it to is in-game. It has in-game stakes. And, in my conversations about it, I'm like, well, you can't say that they're aping in-game because they would have had to have written it a while before in-game actually came out. This is just one of those happy accidents.
Yeah, I don't think Endgame was out, because I think I would have written this in it's 2020, so I would have written it as like early 2019, 2018 or something.
Right.
So yeah, I think Infinity War might have been out.
Okay.
But I don't remember that. I know I wasn't specifically drawing on either of those, because honestly, we just had so much continuity we had to within the movies that I had to try and thread through, that like all my focus was on that. Was on making it feel like a Justice League Dark film and making sure everyone else felt like, you know, like the Titans and the regular Justice League, and everyone felt represented. And that was the full plate, you know?
You did a spectacular job.
Yeah, it was really there. Is it liberating? Like you kind of touched on it earlier, but like you never really get to play with the toys. How liberating was it to really just kind of be able to go all out, do whatever you want, and really just like write the story that you saw in your head?
Oh my God, it was so much effing fun. Like, it was so much fun. Well, especially because there was this weird thing where, like, I don't know how many people know it. And I feel like I may have talked about it before, but there was like this weird moment of serendipity where, like, I had the idea for how spoiler are we getting?
Oh, let's go.
Okay.
Normally we don't do spoilers, but this is different.
Yeah.
This.
Oh, I'm just like slowly edging out of it. Yeah. So the idea for the kryptonite tattoo I actually had in high school.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
That is the most metal thing I've ever heard.
This is even more. It's even more crazy, which was I just finished Wonder Woman, and my mom was like, "Hey, I found all your stuff from high school," and she's like, "You know that one Supergirl story you wrote? Because it was originally an Elseworld Supergirl story," and she was like, "The kryptonite tattoo." She's like, "You should do something with that," and then like literally, she put it in the mail, and they were like, "Hey, we're gonna end the universe. Like, what do you want to do?" And I'm like, "Superman kryptonite tattoo." And they were like, yes, please. And I was like, yes. So this was the revenge of the fanfic, you know? Like
Absolutely.
I was so jazzed.
Your high school self is sitting there in your inner spirit going, "We did it!
Oh my God, we did it!" Well, because I wanted
awesome.
to. Because my one thing was, as I remember telling them, was if I could do one thing in this with Superman, it's that I wanted to show that Clark was the hero. I wanted the universe to be saved by Clark and
beautiful.
by Bruce instead of by Superman. And it really is. It's that Clark knows that Bruce was affected when, you know, he heard about Dick. And reaching Bruce is the critical thing. It's not solving the puzzle or stealing the MacGuffin. It's how do we emotionally connect Batman back to his heart, you know, and get him back on our side.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. Was there anything that they said was too far?
Oh, I don't think there was anything that they. No, I was actually surprised too. I've got a thing with eyeballs where like I'm forever poking out people's eyes in scripts, and I really thought they would be mad about that, but they kept it. So
no, they definitely were. They were okay with that.
That was there.
Yeah. It was very sticky, very tactile.
I was waiting for that to go away. And also, I loved the like. I know it's so stupid and fangirl, but for me, something about like, and then his eye beams meet his eye beams, but he's got 4 eyes. So he's got 2 extra eye beams. I was like, yes, do it.
That was awesome. Yeah. The Trigon Superman combination. Whoever did that deserves royalties forever. Like that needs to appear in toys and video games.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Can we also acknowledge, like, we just need to, as a community, recognize that it is now canon that Trigon doesn't wear pants. He wears a cod piece and chaps.
Yeah, he does.
Like, all day.
Listen.
And it's like, yeah, he does.
He is the sex god that we have been waiting for. And I'm low-key pissed at Raven for holding him back all this time. I'm like, now you're just being selfish. You were absolutely being selfish.
Oh my God. And when he does because I hadn't seen the design. So when they make the flaming S and the fire cape, you're like, this is almost too much unless you're Trigon. Then it's fine.
Then you're like,
right.
I'm with it. I'm there. Jeremy was even saying like that was the part that he was just like, glory. Absolute glory.
Oh yeah. Because I fully expected
that fight scene, I told my husband, I was like, this belongs on the side of a van. and I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I now know what I want for Christmas. I will be writing my family in mass and be like, yeah, I need this. I need
It's
a van.
like, did you ever? This is gonna be a real deep cut. Did you ever Did you guys read the Timothy Zahn Star Wars novels? The Heir to the Empire series when it first came out?
I didn't, but did you guys?
I've read part of them, but not all of them. Like, as I keep wanting to, and then I realize I read comics better than I read books.
No,
I just hope he doesn't hear me say that.
It's fine. But I just remember I remember when I first started dating my husband in high school, like he was like, "Hey, you should read these books," and the covers were very like, "This should be on the side of a van," and I was like, "I don't know," and then I read them and I loved them. But so now whenever I think of that, I'm like, "Oh, it's like a Timothy Zahn cover."
Yeah, yeah. But you say that like with like such love. You're like, yeah, this is like a Timothy Zahn cover. Ooh, that's awesome.
Everyone's super effing buff and shooting lightning from their hands.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Now, was there? Okay, I took hints of comic book continuity in this movie. Were there series that they wanted you to try to work in, or was it just free reign?
No, there wasn't any. I mean, there wasn't anything from the comics they wanted to try and work in. There are a couple nods to some things in comics.
Okay. Yeah, because I thought the what was it, the Batman Beyond crossover with the futuristic looking Justice League?
I actually hadn't read that.
Oh,
that
okay.
might have been at the design level.
Gotcha.
I was just going for the fact that because everything is cyborg tech, that everyone would look a little more like Cyborg.
Nice.
So that was just a happy accident. But like Flash's treadmill, I believe you see that in was it the second Dark Knight Returns?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
DK2.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, which is Strikes Again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very
I
nice.
remember thinking that was a really cool idea, so I just stole the crap out of that.
As you're supposed to do.
Well, that's the one nice thing about writing like a DC animated movie is like you want to see these things, you know, like come to life in a different format. So you try and like pull things you thought were awesome.
That is awesome. Now, obviously, you have a bit of a bias. So, beside Bloodline and Apokolips War, what is your favorite DC animated movie?
Oh, that's hard. I mean, overall, I'm probably gonna say Hell to Pay, but individual moments, I freaking loved Superboy and Reign of the Supermen.
Oh,
like
okay.
Him and Luther's dynamic, because that's not an easy character to hit, you know,
True.
and making him feel 90s without feeling like I want to kill him. They just did a great job.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah,
like,
because sometimes
Hellboy
you
is
go back
such
and
a
you're
great... Oh God!
Right?
As an adult, as like a kid, you're like, they're so cool, but as an adult, you're like, no, really, just no.
Guilty of that. That's awesome. Okay, so when it comes to the craft of writing for animation, how different is that from writing for comics?
Well, I always I always describe comics as like the haiku of animation, which is you still want that sense of movement, but in animation, you're always writing while moving. You're always writing on the fly. You know, you want everyone to be in constant motion. In comics, you really got to pick the 2 or 3 still images that convey the sense of the whole fight,
Right.
that convey that sense of all this motion. And
That's
that
well
can be
said.
kind of hard. Like I remember when I first started writing comics, like I'd still want to like beat out the fights and have you be able to like track them.
Right.
But it just takes up too much real estate, you know?
Totally understand that. That's wow. That's really well said. I'm a comic book writer as well, and so the craft of writing is
awesome.
always
High five.
Thank you. Yay. Is always the thing that when you see something written really well, like Apokolips War was, and the balance of it all, you kind of want to know like what is the difference in terms of what I'm doing for my comics versus what you're doing. And it sounds like a very, very specific thought process, which is brilliant. It's so important to know that writing isn't just writing. You do have to think of format, which is really important.
Oh yeah. Well, and in this, like, it's funny, my outline actually pulled all the reuse, like all the locations, every design that I thought we could reuse, every location I thought we could reuse or redress or because we're going everywhere, you know?
Right.
And so it was like, who's shown up so that we have the design, like, and just everything to try and save money, save people's arms when they're drawing, just
Right.
but yeah, I would say that also too, if you're going from comics to animation, you got to be really careful with pacing.
Mm-hmm.
You really do want to, like, a 22 animated show will have like a 27-page script with fights. So you want to keep everything detailed enough what's going on, but you can't just sit there and write out everything that's going to happen on the page. You got to pick what's important.
Nice. Now, do you have a preference between full-length movies versus shorter, episodes?
No, it's weird because when I was writing on Guardians of the Galaxy, like it was actually really good training for this because we did a lot of like mini arcs.
Mm-hmm.
So it got you really used to it. It's funny, when they first asked me to write Wonder Woman Bloodlines, I was like, I don't know, I've only written one feature, and I was like, look, you're not writing a feature, you're writing a 3-parter, and it's like, oh, okay, I can do that.
There you go. Way to just kind of break that down in a more applicable, more digestible sort of way.
You do miss the commercial breaks. I gotta say, as a writer.
I mean, you can still kind of write for those, right? You just know that they're not quite there, but you can hit that moment, and then there's just that transition.
Yeah. It's easier with DC because they don't have this. Like, Marvel really wants those outline, going out stinger line. You want that last little quip before you head to commercial. So DC, you're like, well, we don't have commercials, but also we don't do that as much. So I was grateful for that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because I'm looking at your list of animated stuff that you've done, and it's crazy. It's all over the board. It's awesome. We got Transformers. You got Kaijudo. I did notice something. So I was researching, and it looks like you're going to be writing Magic the Gathering. Is that for Netflix? Is that correct?
Yeah. And I can't talk about that at all.
Oh yeah, totally. I just wanted to. I was like, oh god.
I mean, that was a pretty cool project, and I'm excited to see how it turns out, and we'll see.
We'll be watching. Definitely be watching. Yeah, because at Comic Town they host quite a few Magic events, so I think it would be something really cool if we can, kind of showcase that while events are going on. I don't even know if that's legal. Is that legal? You do that?
Unless I get caught.
Yeah, I was gonna say we'll delete that I even said that. I didn't say that. So with the coronavirus stuff, is there a particular feature or movie that was supposed to be coming out that you're kind of upset that we haven't seen yet?
I really wanted. Is it called Lovebirds? The Kumail Nanjiani movie. I really wanted to.
I think so.
That, but I think it's on Netflix, and I think it's coming out on Netflix any day now. So
okay.
Weirdly, I have a 3-year-old, so.
I mean, that's not weird. One has 3-year-olds.
Yes. Oh, no, it's weird. Anyone who has a 3-year-old will tell you it's weird. But yeah, so it's I feel a little grateful now where it's like, no one can go to the movies, huh? Right. You going to the movies? Yeah. No, you're not. Welcome to my boat.
Listen, that's why Trolls did so well, man. I swear, the fact that anyone could just turn on video on demand Trolls and just keep their kid occupied, billions of dollars just waiting to happen.
Oh my god, Netflix could charge me $20 for every episode of Octonauts and I'd pay it.
Dude, I'm 100% there. But for me, it's Miraculous, so that's
Oh yeah, Ladybug.
Yeah. I'm a Ladybug Cat Noir, PJ Masks household. It gets deep.
Yeah, we're trapped in one of my second youngest has discovered Liberty's Kids. Oh. And we're trapped.
I don't know that one.
And oh my, you don't need to. It's like about the Revolutionary War here in America.
Okay.
But it's like
I've heard about it.
Yeah, don't watch it. I've never wanted to go back in time. I've never wanted to go back in time and help the British defeat us as much as I used series.
You are a traitor. You cannot say that. That's terrible.
Benedict Arnold Ryan.
You know what you can try is there's a show my son loves called Ask the Storybots, which is also on YouTube and Netflix. It is awesome. It is actually super well written. They explore a different scientific topic. Literally, I remember one day my son walked up to me and was like, "Mama, electricity is when electrons change atoms." And I was like, okay, that sounds like it
I didn't know
tracks.
that. That is awesome. That is definitely awesome.
But it's
So-
really funny, and they do like the old school Sesame Street thing where like they have like like Snoop Dogg plays a computer CPU that's mad that he only gets
amazing.
asked for cat videos and stuff. It's really good.
Oh my gosh.
That's amazing. That is amazing. So, are you raising your son in absolute geekdom? Like, how well versed is he with all the stuff that you work on?
Oh yeah, no, I mean like it was actually kind of funny because my husband started watching Justice League Dark in the morning,
Okay.
and my son got really mad because I was like, oh, he can't watch this.
No. You can't.
Yeah. I think he was just jazzed because he's not supposed to have screen time until like 4:00, and he was like, "Oh, morning screen time." But he was like, "No, watch Mama's cartoon." And I was like, "No, not watch Mama's cartoon.
No.
This is gonna be like that evil clown scene from Brave Little Toaster and scar you forever. Like, you can't watch
That's real.
this."
That's real. Or he's just gonna walk around and grab his toys and just in half, and he's like, "Yeah, I learned this by watching you."
You did this. We had my husband had a box of Hero Clicks with Dormammu on it, and for some
Nice.
reason, when my son was just starting to walk, he would always go over and just whack the crap out of the case that was in. And so we're like, he's starting young. Like she's just like, "No one likes you, Dormammu. You go back to your dark dimension. No one likes you."
Sorcerer
hated
Supreme
that
is
Dormammu.
born. That's what that is. Absolutely. That is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So obviously you can't quite talk about the magic stuff, but is there any upcoming projects that you have that you can talk about yet?
Dude, not at all.
That's
Like,
awesome.
I really want to, because, like Star Wars came out and that was really fun, but like everything right now is like a year or more away.
Oh,
like
my
I'm writing
God.
stuff that'll come out in 2022, and I'm like, oh, just get here already.
I'm
But
over
also
here
never
like,
get
oh,
here.
I need some more Mairghread Scott. Come on. Okay, so let me, if I can ask this. Obviously, this is the end of the James Tucker verse, as we're calling it, of the DCAU. Is there a place where you would like to see it go? If you could just speculate widely without any sort of point of reference, where would you like for things to go, since we have this wide open tapestry now?
Okay, well, I'm saying this 100% just as a fan.
Of course.
I don't have any insider knowledge at this point. I think the thing that really surprised me about the reaction to Apokolips War was I knew people were going to be on board for how dark it was, but I didn't expect everyone to be on board for how emotional it was. And I had all these tweets of people like, I cried when like Batman talked to Damian, and like it was so heartbreaking with like Lois and Clark, and it really made me realize I think there can be an instinct when you're writing superheroes to like make everyone tough and to kind of downplay the heart.
Right.
But I really feel like, when I look back over the Tuckerverse and what I love the most, the more I think about it, it's like I liked the heart. Like that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And so I don't want that to be hidden under a bushel. I like when these people fight for the people that they love and they try and do what's right. And it not just being sarcastic or put upon or people with weird powers, but like really feeling like these are people who are trying to do better and trying to be super,
Yeah.
And I think that really resonates. And like, even, on the Marvel side, it's like, I think that really I think that's why Cap resonates so much, is just, it's not the abilities, it's the fact that like he's totally marooned in, a whole nother time, and he barely has a handle on this, but he's still trying to just be the best version of himself that he can be.
Right.
And so that kind of aspirational aspect and that kind of human aspect, I really hope goes forward. I like to like heroes.
That's a great statement. That's because I think a lot of times we get caught up in this wanting to see people be dark for dark's sake, that we don't see them as people. They are just, elements of darkness, and wouldn't it be cool ifs? But they are, in fact, people with, their own set of emotions, morals, all those things. And when those things come out and play, it's fantastic. The notion of Damian deciding that, yes, I will be the emotional tether to draw my father out is probably one of the greatest things that that character could ever do, because he's so not that. And most of the time that we see him. That's so awesome.
And especially because I felt like it was really neat to have him say, you know, he doesn't think this is going to work.
Right.
He really doesn't. I think he really thinks of this as a suicide mission, but this is what Raven wants him to do, and it's their best shot, and he's just going to try. He's going to try and save his dad. He's going to try and help, you know, the girl that he loves, and he's walking into this thinking he's not going to walk out.
Right. And for like 2 seconds, he didn't, which, man, I mean, Damien taking on the Omega Beams, that was rough.
Thank Ernie for him getting back up, because in my version he didn't.
Oh,
there was a draft where he did not get back up.
Oh, you are awesome for that. I just want you to, like, because that's bold. I mean, even though everything was going to get, you know, fixed at the end, that's a bold move to just be like, nah, Damien's done. Nah, that's awesome.
Well, you know, they said Justice League Dark, right?
I mean, look, oh, they asked for it. They're going to get it. They're going to get it. That is absolutely amazing. Are there any other animated features or properties that you would love to work on?
Oh man, like this is gonna sound a little weird. I'm really glad that I got to write dudes. You don't get to write dudes a lot as a female writer, so it felt really fun to like write Superman, write Batman, and I really want to write Batman. I think that like, especially because Damien's origin story is so messed up, and like no one ever really kind of talks about it, and we finally got to like address it a little bit.
Yeah, you did slip that little man raping thing in there.
Yeah.
Well, because I was kind of surprised they let that get through, but like, because no one ever freaking talks about it, and I remember reading that story and being like, wait a minute, like, and Batman's such a control freak that it's like that would mess him up. That would mess him up.
Or he really liked it. Like, Batman's got a secret sub-life thing that we don't know nothing about. Just put that out there. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just being honest.
You know, if anyone's vanilla in the sacks, it's Batman.
That's messed up. Come on. He's got the cowl and everything.
It's the opposite of Jedi in the streets, Sith in the sheath. He's walking around. He doesn't want to get into any leather. He does that all day at work.
Oh my God. That's wow.
He just wants to be held.
You've thought about this. You have thought about this. You could never convince me otherwise. You have thought about this, but I love it. That's a really good point, though. I can see him.
You should see. One of my friends got married, and they sat I was writing Batgirl all the time, and I realized that the entire end of the table was DC comic book writers, and we decided we played a game called How Would You Destroy the Justice League, and it was just the most vicious thing forever. Like,
what was, if you can say without there being, you know, stealing someone else's idea, what was your worst version? If you didn't use that in this movie.
I forgot my worst version. I remember because my husband and I play this game sometimes. I remember the best thing he ever came up with, although it was from Marvel, was he's like, why doesn't anyone just give Quicksilver an adamantium switchblade? Like,
so he's just
yeah, he's like, why don't they just, you don't even need that much metal, you know? And I was like, oh man, yeah.
You know, his dad could really do that.
There's all these weird little things. Like, I always thought like Metamorpho is just way more messed up. Like, you can take that bad places if you wanted.
Yeah, you could. Yeah. If Metamorpho and Plastic Man decided to have a challenge of who could kill more people, that could be really dark. Like really dark.
Dude, I remember I was pitching. Oh my God, I really shouldn't be saying this. I wrote on the DC Valentine's Day anthology, and I was like, I'm gonna send 3 pitches, and I'm gonna set them, like, give them a different tone, you know?
Right.
And yeah, I pitched a Metamorpho that was real upsetting.
Oh. So maybe you might have to fanfic that one. You might have to Stephanie Meyer's that one.
Someday, right?
That'd be amazing. Absolutely amazing. Oh my God, that sounds so cool. Ryan, do you have anything else? Because I'm gonna keep geeking out if you don't jump in.
I'm just like looking up and down the list, like the Buffy Vampire Slayer Chosen's ones, one shot.
Oh my God, that cover was so pretty.
Yeah, Like,
And the art in that was really good. And it was so nerve-wracking to write that.
What? Why? Like just because of the verse?
Oh, no, because the of the Native American angle.
Okay,
Oh.
that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Because there was this horrible, especially the name. Her name
Right.
became a huge problem because all of the Native American tribes in Southern California had been so wiped out that I could only find examples of them having Hispanic names.
Oh wow.
Like I could find a couple of guy names, but I couldn't find any original women's names as I was researching,
Right.
like in the native language. She wouldn't have used a Hispanic name. Like, so I'm scratching my brain. And I finally found like, okay, well, I found like the name of the goddess, and it's like, well, maybe she'll take it on as a title. And then
Right.
she had to be given the title. Like, so just trying to like do right by that story. But then it's like, you gotta write the story too. Yeah, that was a real fine needle to try and thread.
Oh man, that sounds tough. Do you feel a lot of social responsibilities in the things that you're writing?
I mean, absolutely. You know, I mean, it's tough because on the one hand, you're a writer on a schedule. You've only got X amount of time in the day, and you've got to do X amount of work to eat, you know, to feed yourself. But at the same time, I want my world to feel real. I want my world to feel accurate, and it's my job to try and do my very best to present these characters accurately and as full human beings. And that means trying to learn as much as I can about their worldview, you know, and where they're coming from. So I really do put a good faith effort in. But at the same time, you mess up all the time.
Of course.
You know, and even if you don't think you messed up, someone is going to think you messed up, and you just got to try and, I think I said once to one of my editors, it's like, you can't crawl out of a hole without getting dirty. And so the piece I try and make is I'm going to do my best to try and take another step out of this hole, and, you know, hope that someone takes another step after me.
There you go.
That's what I can do.
That's well said. It's very well said. Yeah. Now, obviously, you were talking about the difficulties of being a female writer and not really getting to write male characters. And you were also talking about the emotional content. Is that something that you think people expect of you or don't expect for you to do when you're writing male characters?
I don't know. You know, it's funny. I've only ever once, very early in my career, someone was like, we brought you in because we wanted a female touch. And I was like,
that's not misogynistic. Thank you.
I was like, I don't know if you've read my work, because either you've got a real interesting view of what women bring to the table, or you don't know who I am at all. So, okay. Yeah, I mean, it's been a really interesting thing. When I was a younger writer, I wanted to be hard. I was really worried I was going to get trapped in Pinktown, and sort of like, I'd only be able to write preschool. People wouldn't give me hard-hitting subjects. So like, some of my darkest work is some of my earliest work. You know, I staked myself out as, I remember when I wrote Kaijudo, they gave the premise had already been come up with. And I was like, look, I got to ask, you know, you got a lot of female characters, like way more than normal. Did you give this to me because I'm a woman? And my boss was like, oh no, we gave it to you because it's the revenge episode.
You're like, okay.
And I was like, yes. But yeah, sort of as I've grown as a writer and been doing this for a while, kind of being able to do the more softer angles, you know, the parental relationships, having a kid and being able to express that more, like I've gotten more heartfelt and soft with age. I don't know if you guys felt how squishy this was. But,
no, it was a lot of sincere couplings.
This movie was real. Yeah.
It was juicy.
It was really like a PS I love you to DC.
You know what? I felt that. I felt that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when Constantine was dealing with his ex with King Shark. I get that. I 100% get that.
Yeah.
You know, just go ahead and chew on that. I just want to know the mechanics. Like, everyone wants to know the mechanics of that. Like, how do they kiss without getting? Why does everyone
want to know the
mechanics? No, I mean, like, just kissing. Like, because King Shark has no lips.
First of all, one of them's literally magic. So there's that.
True.
Like, literally someone's magic.
True. and it's not King Shark. I don't know. I think King Shark is pretty
right?
magical. I
And
mean, that's the
he's
way I
also
look at it.
all right. And I mean, it's like a step stool, and maybe maybe he's got like Pretty Woman rules where it's like no kiss on the mouth. Like who knows?
It's King Shark that makes that rule up. That's what it is. You're like, no. We're not there yet. Okay.
Well, it's funny. There was a longer version of that scene where you found out what happened, like why their relationship went south. Which is, do you want to hear?
Yes. Yes. It's not even. Yeah.
Okay, so they started in this version, which is not canon because it didn't make it there. So
There you
whatever other people's thoughts are. But originally, the idea is that because King Shark, the reason John ended up dating King Shark was I knew I wanted King Shark because I love Gail Simone, and I wanted him to only be able to say King Shark is a shark. And I was like, I wanted someone to date someone on the Suicide Squad, and I was like, oh, he should date King Shark because he's magic, so he's the only one that can understand what King Shark is saying. But he's Constantine, and he's a dick. So the idea is that eventually King Shark was going to get kind of clingy because this is the only person that can understand what he's saying. And John ghosted him, and you shouldn't ghost a 7-foot-tall man shark. And so that's why he was like, I can't go meet up with him because he's gonna kill me. Like,
oh my God, that's way funnier now because of knowing this. Like that's amazing, and especially because King Shark totally threw him off because it was like, hey, what's up? I remember.
Yeah, right.
Oh my God, I'm going to watch that again.
But
now,
yeah,
and
but
it's gonna have a
they
totally
cut
different
that
context.
for time, and then Ernie added the which by the way is like chef's kiss. That King Shark actually says something at the very end, and it's like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, like, oh, that's his way out. Dang it.
Oh, that was great.
That's
so
awesome.
good.
So awesome.
So clearly that didn't happen anymore. But yeah, I don't know. I liked that stuff. Well, because also like I knew everyone when he talked about his ex on the Suicide Squad, everyone was gonna think it was Harley.
Of course.
And I was like, there's no way John Constantine is hitting that. Like that's not.
No, like you said, I'm not crazy.
That's not his
like,
kind of crazy. Yeah.
Exactly. He's more colorful. He wants more nuance. I get that. No, that's awesome. Well, we don't want to keep you too much longer.
Sure.
Thank you so very much for joining us. Anytime that you're back this way in the country, feel free to come down to Ohio. We will take good care of you because you have given us some great treasures throughout your career. We are instant fans.
Well,
We're
thanks.
absolute instant fans. If you would, for our viewers, would you tell everyone where they can find you on social media so we can just grow your profile even more?
Yeah, sure. You can find me on Twitter at Mairghread Scott. And you can also go through my website. I've got mscottwriter.com. And we put out a periodic, like whenever I have a new project coming out, I'll send an announcement that it's coming up.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Yeah, by all means, join the newsletter. I just did. So I'm part of the M. Scott Army now. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Enlisted.
Oh, there is one more cool thing, which is coming up this month on the 31st. I'm partnering with Fanbase Press and Hero Initiative. And I'm going to give a lecture on how to write for animation specifically. So it's going to be like a little Zoom conference. And all of my proceeds go to Hero Initiative. So if you wanted to hear more of me ranting about how to like write specifically for animation, it's all over my Twitter feed, but check it out.
Oh, we'll absolutely be signing on. Big supporter of Hero Initiative, and you're just amazing. So definitely we'll be checking that out.
All right. Well, thanks, guys.
Absolutely. Oh, thank you. Fantastic movie. Like, love your stuff. Huge fans forever and now again. Thank you again for joining us. And we will be seeing you soon, hopefully, once conventions and all that stuff open back up.
Yeah, right? All right. See you later.
Have a great one.
All right. Bye.